Things continue to go from bad to worse for Rudy Giuliani as the disgraced former mayor of New York and current Trump lawyer has now filed for bankruptcy. His Chapter 11 bankruptcy filings reveal a really grim picture. He owes between 1 and 49 creditors. His assets are worth between $1 and $10 million, but his debts are between $100 and $500 million. He owes the government just under $1 million in taxes, and his total debts are over $151 million, $148 million of which are the judgment from Moss and Freeman, and over $3 million is owed to law firms. And of course, still pending is the lawsuit against him by his former employee, Noelle Dunphy, for his alleged sexual harassment. Also still pending are the lawsuits against him by Smartmatic and Dominion, with the latter having recently settled with Fox for a record $787 million, which I'm sure doesn't exactly inspire confidence that Giuliani will be able to slither away from that one. All of which is to say, when Giuliani's attorney said that any multi-million-dollar judgment against him would amount to the, quote, civil death penalty, he wasn't kidding. But here's the worst part. Giuliani's $148 million judgment to Moss and Freeman isn't dischargeable in bankruptcy. So him declaring bankruptcy now isn't going to wipe the slate clean. He will still owe that money to Moss and Freeman, regardless of whatever legal routes he might seek.
But here's what's interesting is that a judgment like this that resulted from willful and malicious conduct is not dischargeable in bankruptcy. So it doesn't go away. He still owes the money. Now, whether he can actually pay it, it remains to be seen, but it will stay with him for the rest of his life. He can still appeal this, but the judge made it pretty clear in order to appeal, he has to post a bond equivalent to the amount of the judgment, which obviously he can't.
But it actually gets worse for Giuliani because it's not just his financial freedom that he's lost. He may also stand to lose his personal freedom. Here's what I mean. You may remember that after the trial, Giuliani set out on a little right-wing media tour to further defame the women whom he was just found liable of defaming to the tune of $148 million.
I have no doubt that my comments were made and they were supportable and are supportable today. I just did not have an opportunity to present the evidence that we offered.
And I couldn't put that in evidence, as well as other tape-recorded conversations and some videos that I think your viewers have seen, and I'm sure in the future will see. But the jurors never saw those. The jurors never saw a single defense from Giuliani.
Your initial allegations, you still believe them to be true?
Yeah, well, of course, they'll sue me again for it when I say that, but yeah, I do.
After that happened, Freeman and Moss filed another lawsuit against Giuliani seeking to permanently bar him from defaming them again. And if he opts not to comply, then there do exist avenues that a judge could take. Here's Glenn Kirshner discussing this very possibility with Joy Reid.
At some point, ultimately, a judge will have to hold Rudy in contempt. If an injunction is put in place and he continues to violate it, he should be held in contempt, and the penalties can include up to jailing him.
So is Giuliani being remanded to custody an extreme possibility? Yes, but it's a possibility nonetheless, because if Giuliani could go out within 24 hours of being hit with a life-destroying $148 million judgment, then clearly this guy has no sense, and it's perfectly likely that he'll continue to plunge himself deeper into this hole that he's dug for himself. But just one note on this new lawsuit by Moss and Freeman. What was most striking to me was that the new lawsuit wasn't even for more money. It was just to have him stop defaming them. They just wanted their humanity back that he'd stripped them of. They just want this nightmare to end, and that's something they made abundantly clear in the aftermath of the trial.
My name is Shay Moss. I spent 10 years as an election worker in Fulton County, Georgia. The lies Rudy Giuliani told about me and my mommy after the 2020 presidential election have changed our lives. And the past few years has been devastating. The flame that Giuliani lit with those lies and passed to so many others to keep that flame blazing changed every aspect of our lives. Our homes, our family, our work, our sense of safety, our mental health, and we're still working to rebuild. As we move forward and continue to seek justice, our greatest wish is that no one, no election worker or voter or school board member or anyone else ever experiences anything like what we went through. You all matter, and you are all important. We hope no one ever has to fight so hard just to get your name back. We're very grateful to the jury for taking the time out of their busy lives to do their civic duty, to listen to everything that we've been going through. I know I won't be able to retire from my job with accounting like my grandmother did, but I hope by us taking these steps, these very big steps towards justice, that I can make her just as proud.
Money will never solve all of my problems. I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go and who I choose to share my name with. I miss my home, I miss my neighbors, and I miss my name. I've heard some of you. Don't be sad for me. Don't waste your time being angry at those who did this to me and my daughter. We are more than conquerors. Pray for us as we continue to fight the good fight of faith. I tell my attorneys often, my friends say that God knew who to give this assignment to, because if it had been them, they wouldn't have been able to go through this. God chose me to go through this because he knows that I would tell everyone whose path I cross about Jesus. I'm strong and my faith shall never waver. From day one, I said, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. If you remember one thing I say today, remember this. Faith is what carried us through the most difficult years of my life. And faith will carry you through hardships that you face in life.
If you can't see the extent to which Giuliani has destroyed their lives, then you're not paying attention. And the saddest part was that it was all for nothing. This was in furtherance of blatant lies that Trump and Giuliani were spreading because they were that desperate for scapegoats to try and prove his election lies. These disgusting men wanted so badly to retain their grip on power that they decided destroying the lives of innocent women like Freeman and Moss was a price they were willing to have them pay. And while the destruction of Giuliani's life is hardly a consolation for these Georgia election workers, it is at least some proof that accountability still exists. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.